Welcome back. We're trying to get on contact with Lisbeth Melendez to talk about the important day that marks this Monday, July 28th, a year from the presidential victory of President Nicolas Maduro, and also the victory of the Venezuelan people as a whole against the far-right destabilization attempts that took place after the electoral victory. Let's welcome once more our guest, international analyst on U.S. policies, Lisbeth Melendez. Welcome to From the South.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure to have you. Lisbeth, it's been a year, as we were saying, from that important date back last year at the end of July. What can you tell us on how these U.S. policies have developed from that moment where in less than 48 hours the people went to the streets and overcame those destabilization attempts to what we have seen through the years in terms of the foreign policy of the U.S. towards Venezuela?
Well, I think one of the important things that we need to understand is that under this new administration, they are more aggressive towards the destabilization of Venezuela's government. The people spoke last year. The people continue to speak in favor of the current government. The opposition has been boycotting according to many records. And as you know, as recently as yesterday, our Secretary of State, one of the many hats that Marco Rubio, a Cuban immigrant, here in the United States, has very clearly stated that what he believes to be the truth and accuses President Maduro of one too many crimes which the world has seen as simple attempts of destabilizing the voice of the people of Venezuela and of its sovereign government.
We have seen in the recent, with the whole issue of migration, of the forced deportations from the states, the imprisonment of migrants and the kidnapping to El Salvador, which recently the over 250 people were returned. We've seen that all this was carried out through negotiation channels directly between the U.S. and Venezuela. Is this can be seen maybe as a little step forward to a new way of just another step in what has always been the relations between the U.S. and Venezuela, that one day the U.S. says something and then the other they do something else?
Well, I think the latter is probably truer right now. President Trump and his administration is facing an unprecedented challenge around his base due to the Epstein files. And in the process of all of that and in the buildup of all of that, the exchange of prisoners in Venezuela has happened, from El Salvador to Venezuela, and then from Venezuela both back to the United States, etc. It is hard to understand where this administration falls vis-a-vis not just the policies around Venezuela, but around the world. Every time the challenge raises around President Trump, he finds ways in which to try to take attention away from this. Our hope as people of Latina descent here in the United States, and those who support the government and the self-determination of Venezuelans, is that this is a sign for the better. But history currently tells us that with President Trump, that is never the case. And so what I would say is that we need to look for the opportunities to exploit those weaknesses around the policies and public relations disasters of this administration in order for us to benefit and to continue to support the usage and the exchanges of trade and others that will benefit the people of Venezuela and not hurt them.
Since those presidential elections July last year, Venezuela has experienced two other elections closing the constitutional cycle of elections, the governors earlier this year, and just yesterday the municipal and local councilors elections, where we saw a great participation of the people and also a consolidation of the will of the people towards the project of the Bolivarian Revolution of the Great Patriotic Pole Alliance. What's your take on the results that just happened yesterday and the overwhelming support towards these government policies of the seven transformations that are being promoted by President Nicolas Maduro?
I think again, I congratulate the people of Venezuela in speaking up and supporting what they believe is the right decision for their people. I think that globally, the administration here in the United States is going to do everything that they can to cast this in the light of manipulation and false hope. Again, yes, alone yesterday, Secretary Rubio called President Maduro a narco-trafficant, a terrorist, and highlighted what he believed was the boycotting of elections by those who support the United States narrative, as if they were the heroes. The reality is that it is to be congratulated. The people of Venezuela are to be congratulated around this issue. They have spoken. They continue to speak. They continue to support the revolution. And if that was not the case, just like it has been in the past, the people of Venezuela would rise and would do so. They have not, and therefore, we know, we know that Venezuela continues to be a country where, just like any other, has challenges and has triumphs. And people of Venezuela continue to support the triumphs of the revolution. And we'll see what the oligarchy tries to do around other issues. But yesterday's mayoral and council elections, again, overwhelming turnout, overwhelming results, and the people of Venezuela continue to speak, and President Maduro continues to do the work of representing those votes.
Thank you very much, Lisbeth, for your inputs and for your time hearing from the South with us.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too.